store. It's in Santa Barbara, and so you can go and try on shoes or look for things. There's things in their catalog that they don't have in the store, but some really cool like disposable stuff that's really great to have, but you're not lugging around the whole time. So Magellan's, definitely look on there. Earplugs are really important. All of these items, I'm not kidding you. Don't say to yourself, I'm not going to need that, because you really just don't know that your roommates aren't going to snore. You don't know, and you have to sleep. You have to sleep. So whatever is on this list, you have to get in your bag. Yeah. Nope, you two have to guess. So please take a look at this. As you have questions, parents, if you go home and look at this and go, what? Write it down and have your kid bring it to me, and I'll email you right away if something doesn't look right. It is really important that you guys have that 24 to 26, maybe 27-inch bag. Anything bigger than that is just horrific, and you just definitely don't want to. All right, so.
Is that a duffel bag?
Yes.
You were talking about when we went to the cathedral, having closed-toed shoes for the sandals?
No, you don't have to have closed-toed shoes.
Oh, so
Nope. You have to have your knees covered
okay.
and your shoulders covered. Not even your head anymore. But you have to have your knees covered and your shoulders covered.
What's it for?
Cathedrals. Okay?
Where do you get a shawl?
You know what? I'm going to do what I did the last couple times. Down in Solving, they have that 99, every fabric's 99 cents a yard, and they have like lacy kind of stuff. I just cut all the girls a piece that they just shoved in the bottom of their bag and pulled out. Most of the girls end up doing, it has to be able to cover those. Some scarves aren't quite big enough. A shawl kind of thing. Just make sure that it's very, very thin and doesn't take up any room. You don't want anything that's going to take up any room in your bag. And boys have to have their legs covered. Long shorts, like girls can get away with capris, men cannot. Your legs have to be covered. When we are going into a cathedral, you have got to make sure you've got everything covered, because I've had kids have to sit on the lawn.
You can wear capris into a cathedral?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've had kids that have had to sit on the lawn at St. Peter's Basilica in Rome and not get to go in. I know.
Good kids.
Look, can you hear the lights?
Yeah. You can't go in.
The only thing with shoes, and I'll start bringing stuff for you guys to look at, plug things. So the next meeting, I'm going to bring a bunch of my travel stuff for you guys to look at. The main thing with shoes is, and you'll see, like Samantha Brown, I think even talks about it in her Florence video. They mostly wear like walking sandals, European, like what? No, like more like Tevas and like hiking.
Like a track, like
Merrell's, Tevas, those kind of. You want it to have extremely cushy sole, okay? And it has to have a back on it. You cannot wear flip-flops around town. We will, like if we have any, I'm gonna look at the itinerary really, really well, and if it looks like we have an evening to hang around at a hotel, which I avoid at all costs, but it could happen, those kind of things where we're not going back out, everyone's just gonna kind of take a shower and get comfortable and come to dinner, we're not doing anything else, that's okay for flip-flops. The minute we walk out the front door of that hotel, you cannot have open sandals on. You have to have something with a back on it. Okay, and tennis shoes, of course, are fine. Tennies, you don't want to wear the tennies to the airport. I mean, I'm telling you guys, I have this down. You want to wear sandals to the airport because you got to keep taking them on and off, and we got it. So last time, you guys, we looked at,
men wear capris in Europe.
oh, yes, they do.
So it's okay if the men wear capris. For
Like the cute kind with the little strings. If you lose me in Florence. Yeah, they do. Kind of a little sailor looking thing and a little string.
Is this on purpose? On purpose? They have purses too.
Sailor type.
Are they okay now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, baby. All right, so we kind of looked at Venice. We kind of flipped through Venice and we weren't supposed to. So I'm going to review this. We're going to the Murano Glass Factory. It is the most famous glass. And it is, the guys have to apprentice for 25 years before they can be considered a master. So these guys are seriously dedicated to their craft. And you won't believe it. You'll be standing there and the guy, just like in 30 seconds or something, he's got this amazing horse thing that stands right up on the deal. It's amazing.
So if you buy something there, do they ship it home?
Yes, you could do it either way. We have that. I try to tell the kids, if you're going to buy something really nice to thank your folks for helping you out with this trip, that's really a great place. They have things like little wine glasses, things like that can be shipped home. Yes, they have beautiful jewelry, earrings. Yes, I have an emerald colored earring and some crack in Florence somewhere.
Didn't the Daniel get one of his, like the earring he used to wear all the time?
Yeah, and the other one was supposed to be mine, and it's somewhere in a crack in Venice. Before we even got home. All right, so we stay on Lido di Jesolo, which is just my favorite thing in Venice, is where we stay. And then this is the water taxi we take in. That, of course, are our gondole. This is right outside our back. I'm going fast because we kind of looked at this last time. Right outside the back door of our hotel. It's right there on the ocean. This is what the Piazza di San Marco looks like, St. Mark's Basilica. Okay, and we were talking about this. There are mosaics everywhere, and in each one of these little apps is a mosaic. This one is right there. And this is, the Muslims had St. Mark's body. When he died, he was in the Holy Lands. So to smuggle him out and get him back to Venice, they put him in a basket and they covered him with pork, because they knew that the Muslims would smell that pork and be like, ah, get it out of here, which is exactly what that guard is doing. And they were able to smuggle him out. Smart guys that they are. Okay, these are the kind of shots that, like, you just hold up your camera and push the button and you get these shots. They're just fantastic. They're like every poster you've ever seen. Inside St. Mark's, believe it or not, you guys, last time, and this is the stuff that Rebecca and I will be working on all the time. Every minute she and I are talking, and the bus driver, we're like this little trio of constantly talking. No real time for the three of us to play, because we want you to get to play. So things like last time, my tour director had never been to Venice and didn't check when the cathedral closed. And we came out of our Doge's tour and the cathedral had just closed. We didn't get to go in. It's like you're in Venice and you don't get to go into St. Mark's Basilica. So those kind of things really matter. And I try really hard to know all those details. But that is what the inside of it looks like. All beautiful gold mosaic. Bridge of Sighs. This is where the prisoners are convicted. They walk across this bridge. They look out these little holes. And where we're standing taking the pictures, where the family and friends stand and wave goodbye.
Oh, no.
Yeah, kind of sad. They're cute, but they don't sing anymore. So we sing for them.
Why don't they sing anymore?
I don't know. Isn't that lame?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this made for an interesting, actually, no, I won't tell you about that. There's a thing on YouTube, but I won't tell you because the parents will be like, but yeah. Last time we were there, it rained the whole time, all morning long, and so the gondoliers just all went and got drunk in the pubs, and at noon the sun all came out. We're like, okay, we're ready for our ride. And they're like, okay. It was really interesting. One of our gondolas, the guy saw that the mayor's boat had pulled off its dock, and he screamed, the mayor's boat, the mayor's boat. He dives into the water and goes to save the mayor's boat, and my kids are sitting in this gondola on the Grand Canal. Anybody? And then this other gondolier, of course they're Italians, so they're all cussing all the time. So this other gondolier gets his over by ours. I wasn't in this. Thank God I wasn't in there. I'd have been freaking out. I'd been swearing out, like, and so they bring the other gondola up, and they tell our kids to all get on one side and grab on. So they kind of latch onto this other gondola. Yeah. Yeah. That's on YouTube. I'll have to give you the hit for that. It's really funny. Somebody is taping our tour director, Yvonne, going, oh, our gondolier just jumped in the water. Crazy. Okay, after we go to Venice, we're going over to Florence and Siena. Siena is amazing, and most people don't even know about it. This is their version of the Duomo. See how tiny the people are, so you can understand how grand this thing is. Again, the striping, we talked about this last time. When Constantine legalized Christianity in 313 AD, the capital was moved to Byzantium, which is now Istanbul, Turkey. It was called Constantinople when he got there. And they brought back with them, of course, anytime you travel with somewhere, you bring back your experiences and all the beautiful art of the Byzantine area. And, you always bring back dance and food and music and all the wonderful things. But one of the things that is specifically Byzantine is this striping. And you'll see black and white stripes all over the place. This church is covered in them. It replaced a 9th century cathedral on the site of a temple that had been dedicated actually to Minerva. The dome was finished in 1263. They did different things at different times. Covered with lead and copper. The stripes are Byzantine. After the Great Plagues, so bizarre, they were so incredibly superstitious and fearful during the Middle Ages. So the plague thing really frightened them. They weren't sure which god or gods were angry. So the church appeases everybody. The church itself is set up to appease God. The floor designs are all Roman Greco gods. There's a whole huge thing. You walk right in the church. You know it's a Catholic church. And you walk in, there's this huge mosaic of all the astrological signs. You're like, where are we right now? It's really weird. But they were so afraid. They were like, okay, maybe we're not doing this right. They just didn't know who was upset with them. So they wanted to appease absolutely everyone they could think of to hope that that plague idea would not return. This is the inside. Yeah, it's breathtaking. When you walk in here and we start to sing, wow. Wow. It's nuts. We sing it every time I walk in a building, go, whoo. It brings back, out comes a pitch pipe. This is a church that has this very specific library. It's called the Piccolomini Library, and these things down here are original illuminated manuscripts by the monks, Gregorian chant manuscripts, books and books of them. They are under acrylic. And of course, everyone's in there to see the manuscripts and like, is anybody looking at the ceiling here? You get so overwhelmed. You have to keep telling yourself, take a mental picture of this. Don't get overwhelmed. Be sure you look at everything. They literally ask you when you go in, no coughing, no sneezing, no breathing. Just hold your breath and go through. Because there are no windows, and it's a very tiny little room, and there's just no way for fresh air to get in there and clear out the carbon dioxide. So you really just kind of get through there quickly. This is just through the glares because of the acrylic, but they literally are Gregorian chants from way, way back. And of course, at that point, the monks and priests were the only ones that knew how to read or write. So they were the ones documenting everything. Siena is a really funky little town. It is set up in what they call contrade, a contrada. And they're neighborhoods, specific neighborhoods. When you go to a little neighborhood, there's a little piazza, there's a little church, and that's the Panther neighborhood. Or there's a, guys in and out of the shell. Hate him in the yard. Snail. There's a snail one. There's a goose one. There's all these different kinds of animal things, and that's your contrada. That is your neighborhood. And in the old days, until just about 10, 12 years ago, if I was pregnant and I was visiting Christine's contrada and my kid was born while I was there, that's his contrada, not where we live. Like where you drop to the ground, that's your for life. And now they finally had enough sense to build a hospital outside the city limits so that people can actually have their own kids and their own contrada. But it's all about this horse race. Telling you, they're crazy about their horse race. This is all the piazzas have this, looks just like the one in Florence. All the Italian main plazas have this big government building. They had 9 guys that were sort of their form of the Medici, the guys who were kind of in charge of everything. The Medici shields, we'll see them everywhere. We'll see the Medici shield when we're in Rome. We'll see it almost everywhere we go, we'll see that. And it's a shield that has these balls on it that represent each of the Medici lords.